The first thing Yalin Cross felt was cold, the kind that crawled under the skin and settled in the bones. And the second thing he felt was the weight of eyes watching him as he knelt on the steel floor of Outpost Vespertine, bleeding slowly from a cut no one cared to treat, when the airlock doors hissed open and changed his life forever. She did not enter like royalty or power. She staggered in like someone running out of time, her veil torn, her noble robes stained, her pale alien skin marked with glowing symbols that tightened and pulsed as if they were alive. And when she saw Yolan, the broken human worker everyone avoided, her knees hit the floor and her voice cracked through the echoing bay like a confession she could never take back. "Marry me," she said, loud enough for the guards, the cameras, and the cruel galaxy listening beyond the walls. "Marry me, and I will warm your bed." Laughter exploded from the Aurelian soldiers escorting her, sharp and mocking, because humiliation was entertainment to them. And Yelin felt his face burn as the words sank in, not because of desire, but because he understood what desperation sounded like. Yolon was nothing special to the galaxy. He was a human laborer with a mechanical arm made from scrap after a mining collapse left him buried and forgotten. A man labeled cursed because machines malfunctioned around him. A convenient lie that kept others away and kept him silent. He lived alone in a maintenance cell, fixed broken things for rulers who never learned his name, and survived by staying invisible. But the alien widow kneeling before him refused to let him stay that way. Her name was Siren Val, widow of a high marshal executed by silence and law, and when she lifted her eyes to meet Jalan's, he saw fear so deep it frightened him more than the soldiers' weapons. 3 days, she whispered, softer now, meant only for him. Galactic law gives me 3 days to wed, or I lose my house, my body, my mind. The widow's claws. One guard grabbed her arm roughly, sneering. Choose faster, widow. The council grows impatient. Jalen's heart pounded as he realized the truth. This was not a proposal but a trap designed to shame her and remind humans of their place. Why me? Yalin asked, his voice hoarse. Siren swallowed hard. Because they believe you are harmless, she said. Because they believe a human cannot matter. That sentence cut deeper than any insult he had ever endured, because it echoed every moment of abandonment in his life, every time he had been left under rubble or passed over as expendable. He saw the guards' smiles, the camera's blinking eyes, and Siren's glowing marks tightening as if punishing her honesty, and something inside him shifted, slow and painful, like a bone setting wrong but necessary. He stepped forward before fear could stop him. Let go of her, he said, and the guard laughed. Or what, human? Yalin looked down at Siren, at the bruises hidden under noble silk, and then back up. Or I sign the contract, he said. And then your law answers to me when you touch my wife. The word wife shocked the room into silence for a breath, and Siren's marks flickered uncertainly, as if the law itself hesitated. The contract appeared on a cold and merciless, offering Yalin no protection, no reward, only risk. But when he pressed his thumb to it, and Siren placed her palm beside his, heat surged through him like a current finding its source, and Siren gasped as the glowing symbols loosened for the first time since her husband's death. The guards' laughter faded into thin smiles as they realized something had gone wrong. Enjoy your marriage, one said quietly. The council will correct this. They shoved Siren toward Jalen's quarters, a narrow room smelling of oil and metal, and when the door sealed, her strength collapsed, her composure shattering as sobs tore from her chest. Yalin stood awkwardly, unsure how to comfort someone who had been broken by power, until he turned on the faulty heater and said softly, "You don't have to pretend here." Siren wiped her tears and told him the truth in pieces, how her husband discovered the council staged wars to control the outer systems, how he planned to reveal it, how his ship's shields failed at the perfect moment, and how the widow's clause was used to erase what remained of his defiance. They wanted me to choose you, she admitted bitterly. A public humiliation. A noble widow begging a human. Yalin felt anger rise, but also something else, a sense of shared pain, because he understood what it meant to be used as a lesson. That night, as the station hummed and distant cannons tested the void, Siren screamed in her sleep as the marks tightened, choking her. And without thinking, Yalin pressed his mechanical hand to her throat, expecting pain but instead feeling a strange resistance, as if the symbols recognized him. The marks loosened, and Siren stared at him in awe. You stopped it, she whispered. She told him then of an ancient secret, a rumor her husband believed, that the Council's galactic law was powered by stolen human blood from a lost colony, that human will could bind reality itself, and that the Council feared humans not for their weakness, but for their potential. The third day arrived with sirens and a Council cruiser blotting out the stars, and Yalin was dragged in chains to the main hall as Siren was forced to kneel before nobles who smiled like predators. The Council envoy declared the marriage void, condemned Yolin as tainted, and ordered his execution while Siren's marks flared violently, pulling her toward obedience. Strapped to the execution platform, pain building, Yalin met Siren's eyes and saw apology, fear, and something deeper, a bond born from shared defiance. As the field activated, Yalin felt his scars burn and his prosthetic arm vibrate. And when he heard the envoy sneer, "Did you think a human could matter?" something inside him finally broke free. He focused on one simple thought, a human refusal carved from years of suffering. No. The execution field faltered, lights flickered, and when Yalin slammed his mechanical hand against his own chest, white energy erupted, snapping Siren's leash and sending drones crashing from the ceiling. Blood filled his mouth, plasma burned his shoulder, and he nearly collapsed. But he stood long enough to speak. His voice carried through the station. "The Council's law is built on stolen human blood," he said. "They harvest. They bind. They lie." Siren stood beside him, wounded but unbroken, confirming the truth. And instead of destroying the hall, Yalin released every hidden file, every crime, every order into the open network, exposing the Council to the galaxy. Chaos erupted as guards hesitated, workers watched, and nobles fled, and Yalin finally fell to his knees, his strength spent, Siren holding him as medics rushed in. In the quiet that followed, with the void watching through fractured windows, Yalin felt something unfamiliar settle in his chest, heavy and fragile. Hope. Siren pressed her forehead to his and whispered, "I begged you with shame, and you answered with humanity." Yalin managed a weak smile. "I was broken long before you," he said. "Turns out broken things can still change the world." They knew the Council would hunt them. That survival would not be easy, but as the truth spread and the galaxy shifted, one thing was clear. When a lonely human and a condemned widow chose each other against a cruel law, they proved that humanity was never weak, only waiting, and that sometimes the greatest power in the universe was not weapons or crowns, but the courage to stand when everyone expected you to kneel.